Hello everyone, this is Kathy Jo from I'm a Little Teapot, and I'm here today to share a project that I created for Quietfire Creations. This project uses several Quietfire Creations product that goes great together, and the project is so fun to make that you'll find that you'll make a whole bunch of them, and it's also great to make with family, the kiddos, and some friends. So the card uses a Quietfire Design stencil. This one is the snowflake spray. It was used on the background there. It also has the newly released mini reindeer die, which is used on the front and the middle, and also it used two of the stamps from the Home for Holidays sentiment set. These are 5 stamps, and I used two of the Holly Flourishes stamps on the card front. So what you'll also need to make this card is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base. My card is a top 10-fold card. Behind the front of the card, the very front of the card, I added some silver cardstock. And then the card front itself is actually watercolor paper. And on the watercolor paper, I applied Spectrum Noir Aqua marker in Kingfisher. I also used a watercolor brush, but you could just use a regular wide brush with some water. Faber-Castell, the glass bead glitter gel. And Nouveau drops in white and a clear glitter. So let's start with the background of the card front. So to create this, I apply my marker onto a block, and the reason why I choose a block is because as often as I clean my mat, I find that I always have a little bit of distress ink or some kind of ink or some kind of goop or something or glitter on my mat, and it ends up getting mixed in with my watercolor. So I try to play safe more than sorry, and I've just grown used to putting it on a block. So you take the large brush end and just place it on the block. Now I used a lot because I am going over large background. My watercolor brush, make sure it's, yep, okay. Now I didn't fill in the whole back of the card with watercolor. I just did mainly the center, kind of off through a flourish there to make it look like it's a flurry. That's pretty good. And I'll quickly dry this with my heat tool. Unfortunately, I'm doing a new setup in my craft room to see if this setup is better than the one I usually do, but my heat tool is a little off to the side, so I'll just let you stare at that really quick. So I don't know about you guys, but while I'm crafting, I like to have either music or Netflix on the background. And I'm going to tell you, I started watching a program on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen The Bodyguard. Oh, holy jumping, that is such a great show so far. I'm only, I think, 3 episodes in. It has the guy from the son from Game of Thrones on there. Wow, it's brilliant. Love the show. Anyway, so that's dry now, and what I wanted to do was make it look like the reindeer is just gliding on a wind of snowflakes, and it kind of gives a little bit of energy to the front of the card. And usually I would tape this down with some washi tape, but just kind of do this free right now. So this glitter gel is really cool. It's white right now, but you can kind of see in there that you see the glitter balls. So when this dries, it's going to be clear with the glitter balls in it. It looks very awesome. So again, you kind of have it offset a little bit. And you can hear the balls when it goes against the plastic. Yeah, so it's funny, when I'm in this room, I'm always listening to music, or like I said, watching something on Netflix. So I just finished watching an episode of The Bodyguard, which is why I brought that up just now. I don't know if you guys want to comment on what you think about the show so far. I think it's really good. And yeah, I really hope it continues that way. If you guys have any recommendations for Netflix for me to watch while I'm in here, I would be more than happy to hear your recommendations. Oh, look at that. Isn't it cool? And I love the details in those snowflakes. So pretty. So it's best to have this dry overnight, or to lightly heat it with a heat tool. Your heat tool that you use for embossing is probably not great because it'd be too hot and you would end up getting bubbles in your gel. However, though, if you have the Ranger, I think it's the Ranger heat tool, it's called Heat It Craft Tool. And if you keep your tool far enough away, and if you just heat it from a distance from the top, and then also underneath, it dries it pretty well. And you can see here that I just dried this with a heat tool, and it's not too bad. It's a couple of areas are still a little sticky, just that snowflake there. But you can see how it dries. It's nice and clear, and you can see the balls in there. It's very reflective. It's super pretty. Okay, so now here's my background. And what I've done to just save some time is I've gone ahead and I've stamped the flourishes onto the card front. And I stamped them in such a way so that when my die cut reindeer goes on the front, that he's kind of in the center there, and that's where the energy and the focus is on your card front. You can almost feel the energy just in the flight of the reindeer through the snow. Now to stamp that, instead of using ink, what I did, I just went back to my watercolor marker, and I'll show you an example here. Just went back to my watercolor marker, and I just applied that directly to my stamp. Now, if you don't have the aqua markers, the Tombow markers, you can do the same thing with them. You really don't have to press too hard to get that in there. You know, I might as well just show you the other one here. Okay, so I'm going to put that one there. Oops. Now it might be nice to kind of have this one almost come from off the page and into a flurry. So pretty. So after this is dry on the front, I'll move back to this one here. After this is dry, what you can do is just put some liquid adhesive on the back of your reindeer. What I like to use is the Scotch permanent tacky glue. It's a white when it comes out, but it dries clear. And then I use a fine point needle tip on the top. So just put a little there. It's hard to do this when you're looking through the camera, so I apologize if it looks like I'm not doing a good job. I'll put them right there. Isn't that cute? So pretty. So to make it really look festive and glittery, and to make it look like, this is flight through snowfall. This is when you get to go crazy with a whole bunch of your crystal drops. Oops. Yes, usually when I'm done crafting, I have a whole bunch of stuff on my hand. Let's see. And then the clear glitter. Oh, this one's called White Blizzard. How fitting. Now, I try to avoid any of the areas where I had stamped at, just because I don't want to smudge my flourishes. Being that is an aqua marker, it might smear my pretty flourishes, and I don't want to do that. And there's a cat hair. So anyone who gets a card from me always gets at least 1 or 2 free cat hairs. I call it extra texture. Okay, so that's the pretty background there. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry. Now the card is not complete yet because we have the great sentiments from the stamp set that we can put on the inside of the card. So on the inside I cut a piece of watercolor paper just a little bit smaller, again, than the card base. And I decided to go with the warm wishes, but there's also Home for the Holidays and Merry Christmas. They're all beautiful. So I did the same technique. I just used my watercolor marker and I just stamped it on there, and it's beautiful results. So there you go. That is a nice little mixed media card front using the Home for the Holidays sentiment stamp set, the Snowflake Flourishes stencil, and one of the newly released mini holiday dies, the reindeer. So thank you for stopping by. I do hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and have a happy crafty day. Bye.